Hello, my Facebook friends. My Facebook friends. Hello, my friends, my crafty friends. That's what I meant to say. I am Teah Woodward here with Stamp with Teah. I'm sorry that I'm starting a little later than I said I was going to. Some technical difficulties. Uh, when I go live with a YouTube video, it usually takes a snapshot of my card, which I've got propped on my desk. And for some reason it was pulling in pictures out of my out of my photos on my phone. So I have a brand new phone, so I don't know if it was a YouTube thing or if it was a me with a brand new phone thing. But anyway, I'm sorry. Here I am. I'm double checking to make sure I'm truly live. I am. Whew. Here I am. Okay, so today I am making a card using the Happiness Abounds bundle from Stampin' Up. And this is a really beautiful bundle. It comes with some designer series paper that everybody loves as well. I've made some cards with that in the past. I'm not using that today. I'm stamping, I'm coloring, I'm using some blending brushes, I'm using some other stuff. So super quick, just going to tell you that we're at the tail end of Celebration. It's the tail end of 2 long months. So hopefully you've gotten what you've wanted to get out of that. If you haven't, the sale ends, or that particular promotion ends day after tomorrow. So get what you want to get and be happy with it. The other item to mention real quick is that there is a joining special. Thank you, Suzanne. Yes, it is a great set, and I can't wait to share with you what I've come up with. And I have an idea to even improve the sample card that I made. The last item regarding Celebration is end of day after tomorrow, so on the 31st is the last day to get this planner and the stamp set and the notebooks and the stickers and the planner itself. If you sign up with Stampin' Up to get the discount or join my team, Paper Blessings, through the end of August, you will also get this for free. So the promotion is spend $99, you pick out $125 worth of product, and you get free shipping on that order, you get 1 free paper pumpkin, and you get that planner. So it's a really, actually pretty phenomenal deal. I believe that planner, as a demonstrator, I was able to order it ahead of time so that I could show it to you. I think it was $45. So, I mean, if you were to add that up, you're getting quite a bit of savings. So now that I've gone over that stuff, and the last I checked on the Celebration items that you can get for free with qualifying purchases, only a couple of items were still out of stock. That was last night. I haven't checked today. Okay? My ponytail is way too tight. I gotta loosen that. There we go. I'm gonna turn the camera down. Let's get started. This is a little longer card. So what I'm gonna try to start doing is, now that I've recouped from my back surgery and all of that, I believe on Mondays I'm going to do a more avid crafters card, and on Thursdays I'm going to do some less involved cards. Okay, so that's kind of my plan of action at the moment. We'll see how it goes, because I have a tendency to like avid crafting, but we can have a lot of fun doing the other as well. Turning the camera down, and friends, this is brand new phone and camera, so holy moly, I hope nothing goes wrong. All right, and I just realized it's actually, okay, let me move that down off of the buttons. So everything's in a slightly different location than I'm used to. But I think were pretty straight, and that looks like we have definitely improved the camera, so I'm grateful for that. All right, got my chair out of the way. I'm standing now. So today I am making a card using Happiness Abounds. I'm using the bundle, so I am using the dies as well as the photopolymer stamps. Some of these are missing because I've already got them mounted on blocks. And I'm just going to set those out because I'm going to need them. Frequently when I craft with you, I do stamp and die cut, especially die cut a lot of my things in advance. I've only die cut one item in advance today because I really haven't really spent enough time demonstrating the cut and emboss machine. So today you're going to see me do a little bit of that. I am going to also use one of the dies from the Layering Circles dies. And then I am using one of the dies from the True Beauty bundle. So it comes with, it's another floral stamp set with its own set of dies, but I really wanted to use this, what I'm looking at as kind of a lattice work. So I pulled that from the True Beauty. That's the piece that I've already die cut. And I will show that to you. It's a background piece, so you can see it's this piece here. And what I've done is I've adhered adhesive sheet to the back of it before I die cut it, and I've turned it into a sticker so I can place it right down. So as you can see, I'm trying to create a bit of a sunset kind of situation looking here. On my next card, intend to turn these flowers just a little, rotate them just a little bit more so they're more of an arc. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Ta-da! I'm going to grab the piece of paper that I'm going to be using my blending brushes with. Going to grab my grid paper so that hopefully I don't make a mess on my background here. Looking for my blending brushes. Okay, so what I've done is I'm just going to use the same piece that I already did because if you've watched me before, you know that I try not to waste. So I didn't want to cut a new one of these just because, you know. So I want a sun kind of in the background here. So I am going to place this, I'm eyeballing it. I'm going to place this about like such, and I really should tape it down. And I'm going to use my Post-it tape to do that. And I'm only worried about really using the blending brush on this inner circle here. The upper inner circle. And I'm using Daffodil Delight. So the three colors that I'm using on this gradiated or ombre looking background is Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to knock off the abrupt ink on my grid paper. And then I'm going to come in and just start applying. And really, I do see the opportunity for me to make a mistake here, so I'm going to stop and fix it. I really should have taped all the way up so that I didn't go off the edge. I know I don't intend to do much ink down here, but I do from here up. So I didn't want to go off the edge. Okay, here we go. And I don't need a ton. The color is just a bit more pure inside the circle, and then outside the circle, the colors are all going to blend together. And this is just creating a background, and it's going to have the lattice over the top. So this does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be intentional, if that makes sense. So I am going to take my, just a little bit of a blending down. But I am gonna, that's going to end up with another color over the top. Okay. I can take this off safely. And then I have the circle that was cut out. So I guess I should have told you what size circle I used. I used the second to largest circle. Maybe it's the third to largest circle. No, it's the second to largest circle. Second to largest circle from the layering circle dies. I did not use the stitched dies. I used the layering circle dies, but I imagine if you have the stylish shapes that could work as well. Now, I've put a piece of Post-it tape on the back here. I've just made a loop so it's sticky, and I'm going to line it up over my circle. Okay, I think I might have lost some of my sticky from last time. Let me try that again. All right, let's do that again. So I am just lining up I just realized I don't need to do that yet. I'm still using yellow. I'm still using the daffodil. I need to, I'm sorry everybody, I thought I was more, I am prepared, but I mean, I don't know, I'm seeming a little bit off kilter, I guess. I'll get my mojo going here in just a second. So I just wanted to bring in some of that yellow down to about here. There we go. So this piece has actually been cut down. Okay, that's why I'm off kilter, is I didn't start by giving you any measurements or anything. I did everything a little off. So this piece has actually been cut to the exact dimensions of this piece. This piece is 4 1/16 by 5 4/16. And the only reason it's in 16ths is because that's what the die was. I didn't pick that. And I'm just going to put just a little bit more intense, okay, across the top here. Again, it's going to be covered up. There. Now I can put the yellow, the Daffodil Delight aside, open up the Flirty Flamingo, grab a different blending brush. Here we go. Now I'm getting pulled together. And line up my circle on top of what, so I've put the negative space on top of the previous space. Knocking off a little bit of extra here, and there we go. And I will start blending that up. And I don't want it too pastel, I want it a bit more intense. I'm using intense colored flowers. My flowers are Melon Mambo. And I like to curl my color up a bit. And again, a lot of this is covered up by the lattice and the and the flowers. I'm going to take some of this color and I'm going to start going around this circle. because I want it to look like it's got kind of a halo glow. And it doesn't look like much at the moment. Okay, so I've gotten ink on my finger. I'm gonna stop and clean that off. That's unfortunate. Just used my chamois to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that my flowers or leaves or something covers up this spot here, and same thing down here. So I'm not going to worry too much about those at the moment. I am going to try to be careful to not let it happen again. I could see if I can just, in case any part of that does show, just kind of give it a little bit of a rosy glow right there. Okay. I'm going to bring that down a bit farther, and then I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape down at the bottom, and it's going to fade up this direction. And you see how much is covered up. You see why I'm not worrying about it being absolutely perfect. Bring in another blending brush. I'm really worried about touching things now, not sure. I think I got the ink off my hands. And start bringing in, whoops. So I just finished having a BOGO sale over the weekend. That was highly successful. If you are one of those people that participated, I thank you so much. Help get that extra inventory out of my home. As a demonstrator, I don't, and this is not for everybody, but because I run mine as a business, not everybody that's a demonstrator is a business. Matter of fact, most are not, but because I do rotate, except for my very most favorite things that come through. I don't hang on to retired product. Almost done. I'd say that's pretty good. Nice levels of color. I close that up. I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to peel off, and there we go. We have this kind of pseudo kind of sunsetty, sunrisey kind of effect going on. I guess it's more of a sunrise than a sunset. So we can set these aside. And let's see if that's nice and dry. I can just flip that over. There we go. So the next thing I'm going to, I should just let that continue to dry. Can you see how I just created a little bit of that pinky halo around the top? I really like that look. And then this is going to be, I wanted it a bit more intense than my sample card was. I love my sample card, but there's a couple things I wanted to have different. And this is my opportunity to do it. So while that is drying, I'm going to set it aside. It should be pretty well dry now, but not taking any chances. Oh goodness, did I? Well, let's see. Pretty sure pretty sure. Okay. Whew, for a minute there I was scared that I had stamped, or that I had inked up the wrong piece. But I did not. I'm going to grab out my piercing mat, my Stampin' piercing mat. I like to stamp with on that. And then I am stamping using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I need 3 of the larger flowers. Ooh, sticky. All right. Sorry, my camera's in a slightly different position than I'm used to, so I'm futzing around here trying to get it. And it's because I have a new phone and the buttons are in a slightly different location. So, had my other phone for 4 years. It was more than past time to get the new one. So I need 2 of the larger flowers, 3 of the smaller flowers, and 4 of the leaves. The arm that I use to hold my camera is static. So that's why everything else has to move around it. I don't have a bendy arm. Well, it does have a bendy arm, but it's really, really rigid. Okay, I need 4 of these. Let's see if I placed everything in such a way that I can do that. I can do 1 there. So I expect to be back to, that's 4. I don't need any more. All right. Oh, but I do need to stamp 1 of the smaller flowers on the message liner on the inside. There we go. So now that my back is doing so well, I've actually been rather hyperactive in wanting to be busy. All right, I am now going to color these with blends. It looks like it's a lot of coloring. I don't think it's that bad. I'm actually only using 4 pens, 2 green and 2 Granny Apple Green and 2 Melon Mambo. So I'll start with the bigger ones just because they take longer. And it looks like I'm going to be sloppy, but I'm going to outline. I'm going to fill it in all with the lighter Melon Mambo Stampin' Blend. And then I'm going to go in and do my shadowing. And then I'll blend it. So I like to lay down my light color first. Every now and then I do it different, but mostly this is what I do. So now it's going to look really messy, but I'm just laying in my color. If there's a few little white spots, I'm okay with that. I do not need to color over the same spot over and over again. So these are alcohol markers, excuse me. And there we go. So I've got the base color down. I'm now gonna go in with the bullet tip. I'm gonna take a sip of water is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the bullet tip from the dark Melon Mambo, and everywhere that I believe there should be a shadow, I am going to add some ink. And so some of those places I'm going to start in the center. I'm actually going to make the center more dark. All right, where these petals are curling over, I'm just going to add just a little bit of shadow underneath those. Now, some people will actually use a light gray for this shadowing on top of the color, and that works nicely too. So first I'm working on those curls. And did I get them all? No, not yet. So there's a whole bunch of little curls. And one more. Then next, I'm going to go in, and everywhere that there's a petal that overlaps another petal, I'm going to put the shadow behind, right? So here, this petal is on top of that one. So I'm going to just put some color there, and I'm going to go around, and I am going to do that everywhere. And you don't need to overthink it. So I am, and if it looks like I'm not being very perfect with my laying down of color, it's because I'm going to be going back in with the blending brush, or with the blending, with the brush tip from the other color. Let's see, did I get it all? I think I did. Oh, missed one right here. Okay. So I'm going to take that brush tip, and I'm going to start with the dark color and move inward or outward depending on where I laid the color. So if it was a shadow, I'm going to be pushing it out. If it was color under a curl, I'm going to be pushing it in. So and sometimes they will meet in the middle and sometimes they won't, and that is fine. You think about flowers that are on a bush. They have all kinds of light and dark and color refraction, and sometimes you'll take a picture of them because they're just so beautiful and you'll end up with white spots. Well, that's why I'm not too worried about these white spots. Let's see. Did I catch them all? So I'm using that brush tip to float that color. Looks like maybe this one. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next large flower and do exactly the same process. Let's see, it looks like I did miss right there. So I am going to go in and just lay my base color. And just want to let people know that if you make a comment, I may or may not see it live, but they will show up within 24 hours. Unfortunately, they're not immediately upon me finishing the video. But as soon as my video, as soon as they do show up from my lives, I will respond to them. So, if you like this video, I do hope that you'll give me a thumbs up. So I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'm located in Vancouver, Washington. I don't think I said that at the beginning. That whole camera thing kind of threw me off. I can sell to anyone in the United States, but I can teach to anyone in the world. So again, I'm going to go in and I'm going to lay my shadow. Now frequently, or usually, I prefer to have things die cut in advance of the videos, just so that they go a little bit faster. But today I didn't do that because I felt like I haven't really spent much time using the cut and emboss machine in front of everybody, so I'm going to do that today. Not that it takes that long, but sometimes it's nice for you to see how other people line things up or such. Let's see. Looks like I got most of my shading in there. Come back with my light. And I'm going to turn this a little bit. So I've upgraded my backdrop. I've upgraded now my phone and camera. Next, I think I'm going to be upgrading the well, either the light or the arm that holds my camera so that I can move it up and down. That's actually part of the reason that I haven't done a lot of demonstrating of my cut and emboss machine is depending on what program I'm using, which platform I'm streaming in, will depend on how zoomed in my camera is. That looks pretty good. And as a result, sometimes I'm not able to do my, I only needed 3 of these flowers and I stamped 4. That's okay. That's another reason that I don't do a lot of the cut and embossing on camera, is because my holder is stationary. It's been a good holder. It's just kind of limits some of what I'm able to do. All right, laid my base color down. A lot less shading on these pieces. Just give that a bump right there. Back in with my light. Blend that out. to the next one. I'll add the green to the stems when I color the leaves. Just trying to be efficient here. I don't know, I might need that fourth flower. It looks like I went out of the line. Not horrible though. I'm going to go ahead and color the third one. Oh, we had some lovely cool days this weekend. We were so grateful for those. Now we're back in the middle of another heat wave, but we were very grateful for those cool days that we had. My grandson had a soccer tournament. I was able to go and attend that, and I was grateful for the cooler weather during that. We celebrated. He and I are birthday buddies. Our birthdays are a day apart. So we celebrated our birthdays. Mine, it was a couple weeks ago, but this was the first time we got to see each other. So grateful for those opportunities. There we go, almost. There we go. And this one I got a little bit of shading on the wrong piece, but that's all right. So I can switch over to the Granny Apple Green now. I'm going to start with the light Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to color all four leaves, all four sets of leaves. So I'm just laying down my light color. This is an older pen, so it doesn't have as good of a tip on it. I've got a new one, but there's still so much ink in this one that I don't like to waste it. So, add my base color to the leaves. Now I'm going to go in and add a shadow with the dark. I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I'm going to just add it to the same side on all of the leaves. So this next Thursday, in a couple of days, I am going to be demonstrating 3 cards using the Christmas Banners bundle. So I'm going to show 3 Christmas cards. It'll be fairly quick, each one, so people can start getting started with their Christmas cards if they haven't already. Going back over that shadow area with the light Granny Apple Green and just kind of blending it into that lighter area. I love what this looks like when I do this. So that's what I'll be doing on Thursday, is Christmas cards. And it's the Christmas Banners bundle. All right, these are now ready to be die cut. So to do that, I am going to use my Post-it tape to hold my dies in place. And believe. Nope. Thought I had that figured out. There we go. I think that's figured out now. Thank you, Jude. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining me. So I am using my Post-it tape to line up my dies, and I'm gonna just run them all through at this. Oh, I didn't add my green to those stems, did I? Just gonna use the bullet tip and just a quick little swipe. Most of those will even probably be hidden, but that's all right. And another piece of Post-it tape. And I can run these all through at the same time. I'm gonna have to clean off some space on my desk to bring over that cut and emboss machine. Oh, and I should have colored my message liner, but I didn't. Oh well. Let's see. Let's put that in a different spot where it's not butted up against. All right, going to move a couple items out of the way here. Bring over the cut and emboss machine. And hopefully, yeah, see, it takes up so much space, but I do this so seldom that I just wanted to do it today. And I had brand new plates, so it was like such an awesome time to do it. And that popping is quite natural as it goes over the dies. So our first 3 pieces are now cut out. There we go. So flower, big flower number 1. Leaf number 1. And small flower number 1. And you saw me tape them the first time, just so I don't have to move my cut and emboss machine again. I'm just going to come, probably it's out of view, but I'm doing exactly the same thing that I did last time. Lining them up, taping them down. And then you'll see me run it through again. Just lining those up as nicely as I can. Okay. So a little bit of static electricity on those. Mostly because they're brand new and I just took the tissue off of them. This is the slow part, right? This is really one of the reasons why, one of the several reasons why I usually do this beforehand, but every now and then got to show the machine. I love my cut and emboss machine. I don't know if I said that already or not. I have the small and this size. The reason I had, so all of these could have been cut with the small. The reason I have this one out is because I had originally already cut out the background. right, just a couple more cuts here. 2 more sets of leaves and 1 of flower. And then I'm done die cutting and can move the machine out of the way. This is such a pretty set. Like I said before, the designer series paper that coordinates with this is just stunning. So I'm using a background die from a different bundle because I wanted this kind of lattice appearance, but there are these other this background piece creates a real lacy effect. These create like torn paper or photo film edges. So there's some really beautiful things in here already, or as well, but I really wanted to do this kind of sunrise effect. I think I said sunset earlier and I meant to say sunrise. And 1 more leaf to cut out. And then I think I'm going to position these flowers a little differently than I did on my sample card. I got my colors a little bit more intense this time, which I'm really happy for. Sometimes I make cards more than once prior to a demo, but today I only got 1 done. Actually, that's not entirely true. I had actually worked on several different pieces and coloring and stuff like that. I just hadn't put together more than 1 sample card. There we go. Here's all of our pieces that are now ready to go on our background. So I can pull over the back the sunrise that I used a blending brush on earlier. Here's the lattice that I had already cut out, and I have adhesive sheet adhered to the cardstock before I cut it out, and then you put the die on the cardstock side and you run it through, and now this is a sticker. So you just have to peel off the back, and I don't have to worry about using a micro needle thingy to apply my glue. And that background was already cut down to the same size as this die. So I'm just attaching that like that, and I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to give it a nice little smooth over. There. That looks great. And those couple little smudges that I ended up with, I'm going to be able to cover those with flowers. Now, our card base, I'm not going to put this on there yet, but just giving you an idea. Actually, I might need to. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is a side fold card. Yeah, I think I am going to do that because I like to have my flowers overlap my edges of my card face, and it's easier to do if I have it on the card base. So I saw that I had a little raised edge here. I want to take care of that. I am going to apply this using dimensionals. See, I did end up with more intense color than my previous piece, so I'm kind of excited about that. I am going to use dimensionals. I love dimensionals. I love cards with lots and lots of depth and dimension. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to take off my backs. There we go. And then I'm just going to center this from top to bottom and side to side. And I think that's good. So now I can see how much of a perimeter I have. So when I apply my flowers, I can tell how much I can overlap, which is not much because the size of this plate was so big to begin with. Okay, now I'm going to add, so one of these two flowers is going to have one layer of dimensionals on it, and the other one's going to have 2 layers of dimensionals on it. So I'm probably going to do, and like I mentioned before, this one, I really wanted these flowers rotated a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure I do that this time. So, but by doing that, I'm going to end up with that little flub right there. So I'm no doubt going to end up with a leaf over here. So I'm kind of having to plan that because, oh, that's going to be fine. All right. So 1 layer of dimensionals on this one. And I'm going to do something about like that. And the reason I don't want to go out beyond the edges of my card base, is because it won't fit in an envelope if I do. So then you got to make a custom envelope. And this flower I'm going to stack my dimensionals and make it 2 high, as in TWO high. And you can still mail them like that. Here we go. Now, I haven't attached that leaf yet, but I want to make sure I don't forget that that's where that one is going to go. I am going to use a mini glue dot to adhere that right now, as a matter of fact, so I just don't forget. So, and that is, yep, it's attached. Okay. Now I can add, I'm just going to play with my placement here. See, now I'm getting more of that arc that I wanted before. I ended up very linear previously, and that's not what I wanted. And I can tuck that in like that, and this one, I ended up with these reversed last time from how I wanted them. There, about like that, and then tuck in my leaves accordingly. So I'm going to put some adhesive. I like my multi-purpose glue. And I'm going to give that a little poke there. More multi-purpose adhesive. And then this one can end up a little shorter. And then this one is going to end up a little longer with that stem even showing. And you know, I wonder, do I just want to... No, I'm going to use my multi-purpose adhesive. Oops, move that over just a hair. Okay, so those are in place now. So now I've got 3 sets of leaves that I need to figure out their placement. Oh, let's see. I really love how these leaves colored up. There I am trying to do the same thing I did a minute ago and it didn't want to go. There we go. Maybe something like that. I really liked having, well, that's not horrible. It's not my favorite. Maybe I only use 3. One of my dimensionals is in the wrong spot right there for me to add. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not loving having the 4th one on there this time, which is okay. This is what I get for kind of changing it. That's kind of nice, actually. Not horrible. Yeah, okay. So, mini glue dot. And then a mini glue dot. And one more mini glue dot. There. Rich colors, right? And are you liking this arc more of an going around the corner better than I had this one? This one was very linear, not what I had intended. Okay. So now for our sentiment, we are going to check, doing a time check here. I said I would be done at about 2:30, and it's going to be tight. We'll see. I need, so I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to heat emboss on black. And oh, it's because I changed what block I was on. By the way, here is my Stampin' Up! Webpage, and then here is the host code through the end of the month, so just through Wednesday. And again, it's celebration time. All right, so okay, I'm going to close this up and just talk very quickly about, we have a heat embossing kit that's in the new catalog. I don't have the catalog in front of me, but I'm going to grab one just so that I can tell you how much it is. It is on page, sorry, I didn't have this looked up ahead of time. It's on page 49. It's $27. There's 4 pieces to it. There's an embossing buddy, which has a talcum in it. You're going to see me use that. That removes the static from the paper Then I will stamp on it using Versamark ink. I will pour the embossing powder over that, shake off the excess, all on in this tray here. When I'm done with the powder, which I don't have to do on camera during this video, but this unscrews and you can pour it all right back into the jar and not lose any of this powder. So that is a real benefit. Comes with this brush, so if you see any little extra bits and pieces of powder clinging before you heat emboss, you can use this to take it off. And I'm going to show you another tool that's not a part of this kit, but that's what I've been using for a couple years now and that I like really well. And then this pair of tweezers, these look plastic and they're not. This is metal and this is Teflon, and you use this for holding your piece while you're heat embossing so you don't burn your fingers. So this is a really nice value, and it's something that I would recommend if you're just getting started. You're going to set yourself up for success if you start off using a nice kit like this. So I'm going to start with my embossing buddy, and I'm going to see the white powder I've left behind. I'm just using that to remove the static electricity. Going to grab my Versamark ink, which appears that there's something in it. So I'm looking for, I have a spoon here. What did I get in there? Uh-oh. Well, it doesn't look like, it looks like I've stained it somehow. It should not impact the effectiveness. And then I am going to line that up, do a nice clean stamp, and see if I can get that close enough for you to see. Can you see that? See that clear stamp on there? I'm going to close up my Versamark ink because I don't want to be pouring powder around an open ink pad like that. I was generous just now with how much I poured on there. You don't need to be. It all depends on how you want to manage your. And that looks nice and straight. Can you see all this spare or wayward powder that's on here? I'm going to give this a nice firm tap. And most of that has come off. I actually only see one extra piece of powder on here that I want off. I'm going to move this aside. And I just dumped my embossing powder. So one moment. Let's see if I can make sure it doesn't end up on the carpet. It's all on the table at the moment. So I'm just wanting to make sure that when I turn on my heat tool, which has a fan in it, oh goodness, that was a silly mistake. I'm sorry, friends. Hold on just a moment. So this is kind of a benefit. Let's see if I can do this without messing up my sentiment that's right there. See, I dumped it all right on this catalog. And don't think anything hit the carpet. I thought the lid was on and it was just sitting on top. Okay. Alrighty. Whew. Yeah, where'd that lid go? Screwing the lid on, Do as I say, not as I do. And that is, don't make a mistake like I just did. All right. Oh, I know, I was going to show you, I had a piece of, now I see more. Okay, I like to use my clay tip to just pick up those little last little pieces of dust. There we go. And now I'm going to hold I'm going to use my heat tool off to one side here, so hopefully it's not too loud. And I'm holding it about 4 inches. Oh, I can show you, but it might get a little loud. And this is not a Stampin' Up! Heat embossing tool or heat tool. It is what I asked for my birthday, but I got a new cutter instead. All right, so now we are nice and heat embossed here. Turning that off. All right, now I'm gonna bring in my paper trimmer and we're gonna cut down. I can feel powder. It's gonna drive me crazy. Right, I already know from my sample card that I like my sentiment to have about 1/8 of an inch on each end of the sentiment. And then I'm going to cut down this. I believe I took off 1/4 of an inch last time. A lot of times I like to use my banner tool or something like that, but because I've got this lattice work that already has all of these points and such, I decided not to do that this time. Okay, so now I feel that powder. Oh, it's going to drive me crazy. All right. Now on this one, I had more of a space right here to add, but then I'm going to go over my flower. So I'm actually going to bring that down a little bit right below the flower. I am going to use 3 dimensionals on the back here. Single layer. I really like this new card better than the first one. And I'm going to bring this down here. Into crooked. It's playing with my eyes. There we go. Get a few things out of the way. All right, so what I have left on the front is a bow and some gems. And then I will do the liner for the inside, and that's going to be super quick. So I like the look of a thinner ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ribbon, I'm going to measure out how much I need. So I'm using my bow maker. I know that's the size bow that I want. I'm going to cut my ribbon there, get this out of the way. Then, before I tie my bow, I'm going to cut this down the center. I'm not worried about an exact down the center, or if it wiggles a little bit, because when you tie the bow it's going to disappear. All right, I am now going to hold the two of them together. You know, my hands are just a little bit sticky. I don't know if that's from me trying to clean off that pad or if it's from me playing with that powder, but yeah. All right. I'm going to tuck those two ends down in here, pull them around the top, and tie a nice tight bow. Oh, goodness. There we go. Evidently, I'm being a little butterfingery today. This really is not, the bow maker makes it a lot easier, so I'm not sure why I'm having problems. And I'm going to pull on these individually. Bring this out. Fluff just a little bit. Actually, it looks like it wants to go the other way. Now I'm going to cut those tails, and I felt like I cut the last one too short, so I'm going to make sure, put my finger in there and make sure that these are just a little bit longer. I am going to use a mini glue dot to attach. If I can see it, there it is. And attach it to that upper corner of that sentiment right there. And then I am using, for the gems, I am using the 2021 through 2023 in color opal rounds. And I thought I was going to use the polished pink, but I ended up liking the pale papaya. So let's put some pale papaya on here. I just pulled my clay tip because I knew it had that powder on there. Gave it a little squeeze, so some new clay came out. And I'm just using the small. Come on. That's funny. What's going on here? I feel the sticky on it. Let's try that again. There we go. And let's put one up here. And usually do things in odd numbers. I do have another pack of these, or I could throw in a large one. So there's 3. So I could stop there, or I'm gonna have to use a large one because the other package has already been put away, I think. I don't see it. I had it out. Oh, there it is. There it is. Let's throw, I could throw this on a flower, or I could just set it down in here. I think that looks fine. Okay, so the front of our card is done. Now we're going to finish up the inside of our card, which I did not do on my sample card, but all I am doing, you by joining me, is I'm going to color in this flower, and I should see, do I think I want to add a leaf on there or not? No. All right. Flower alone it is. So again, with the base color being the light of the two blends, the duo pack. Just filling that in. Then I'll go in and I'll add the shading using the dark bullet tip on the dark Melon Mambo. And I'm just going in and adding the shading, whoops, where it looks like petals are overlapping. Just like that. Bring in that light again and just kind of blend that out. Then I will grab my dark Granny Apple Green bullet tip and just hit that stem real quick. Now we will adhere this to a black matte layer. And this is why you can see, since you see the bleed through, that's why you don't want to stamp right on the card base and then color it in, is because you'll end up with bleed through. My friends, we are almost done. I hope you've enjoyed this card and my vision of kind of that sunrise with the look of a trellis and some maybe climbing roses. This maybe was not my smoothest video, especially spilling that especially with spilling the heat emboss powder. Then unfortunately that is not my first time doing that, although my first time doing it on camera, well, I was off camera, but it was while the camera was running. I have done it before when I was getting ready to start a video. That stunk. That was quite a while ago. So I've just celebrated my 3-year anniversary with Stampin' Up! And I just want to tell y'all, I've had so much fun doing this. I'm so grateful that I was given the opportunity, that a friend of mine that was a demo asked if I wanted to join, and I said no several times before I finally said yes, and I'm so glad I said yes because I do enjoy this so much. Okay, here we are. Quick sip. All right, here we are. We have completed our card, and I think it turned out better than the first one. I've got more saturated color, and I've got more of the shape that I wanted in the first place. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have enjoyed this process and the look of this card as much as I do. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you spending time with me. For those of you that are, thank you, Jude. I appreciate that. Yes, it's been a really great 3 years. I appreciate that. Those of you that are my customers, I appreciate you trusting me to be your demonstrator. And for the rest of you, I appreciate you spending your time with me. Have a wonderful day. I will be back on Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just like this time. That's Pacific Standard Time, or Pacific Daylight Time right now. And I will be doing 3 Christmas cards, all using the Christmas Banners bundle. All right? Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Big hugs.